guys, it's Steve with the Two Party Podcast. We are going live. So today we've got our 9/28/20 news breakdown. Um, so I have scoured different areas of the internet to bring you guys the headline news, and I say headline news because I typically just kind of go through the headlines. I'll read a little bit of each article as needed, kind of give some meat to it. But at the end of the day, there's a lot going on in our wonderful world. Um, and so I like to bring this in between guest interviews and different things we do on the show here at Two Party Podcast. I like to bring these news headlines. I like to keep our audience updated. We have audiences all around the world, and I like to keep them updated on not just what we're seeing in our side of the media, but I get a lot of reports and emails back from other areas around the globe. And so I like to hear what they're getting in their press about America, and I also like to see what we're getting in our press um, as a comparison because we know we're in a hot election climate right now. It's a heavy, heavy, hot atmosphere. And what we have is just this is it. This is down to the wire mudslinging time. This is when all elections and campaigns get crazy, right down to the last day. And so I thought it would be a good time today, while I had an opportunity, to go ahead and get our news breakdown for the day, get that out of the way. I've got some other stuff I'm working on this afternoon, hopefully, if I have time. But I want to thank you guys for heading over to our YouTube page. We've got some new subscribers coming in, new viewers. I've got new content going up. I'm working on different editing stuff, just trying to get some of this content up. So that being said, thank you guys for heading over to our YouTube like I asked over the weekend and on Friday. I'd really appreciate anyone else that could go over there and show some support. All you got to do is go over there. You can click through the videos, check out the videos, which obviously helps us out, but also just subscribing. So if you could go to our YouTube at Two Party Podcast and subscribe, that would be awesome. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all the social platforms. We're there, Parler, you name it. You can find us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all the platforms where you want to hear our podcast or hear platforms of audio. You'll find us there. And so, on that note, let's go ahead and get started. Um, I'm going to go ahead and start with, it looks like I'm starting in world news, and we'll work our way back to some of the more local current stuff going on in the world. North Korea, we talked about this on the last news breakdown. North Korea, apparently a South Korean government official or a person was on a boat, a government boat. This person was taken, shot, and burned and disposed of. And North Korea, surprisingly, they issued an apology for the situation. But you know how when someone apologizes to you, it's just not genuine. So Kim Jong Un apologized, and now we're hearing that North Korea is accusing South Korea of crossing the disputed boundary line to find the dead official. So now it's like, we killed your guy, you guys are in the wrong because he crossed the line. And again, we talked about this, but the real argument that goes on in North Korea, South Korea, that's been going on for years, is borders, which is almost everything over in that area in the world. Uh, is borders. Everybody's arguing over where the territory line is, and unfortunately, this is giving away an acre, a mile, giving away whatever it may be, a couple miles. Uh, these people it's just worth having a war for your entire existence and just continuing to kill people over it. Um, Crazy that we're in 2020 even having to deal with that. So that's the North Korea, not really the biggest topic in the story, but I just thought it was a cool highlight to follow up with our previous apology we got. This one again, Switzerland. Switzerland votes to create um, a national fraternity league. Now, I found that a lot of people might be like, well, why the hell is Dean talking about fraternity league? Because I think that's a very important thing. Um, Maybe I'm weird, but I find it, in this nation, women, in each state's a little different, each insurance is a little different. Women women get a certain amount of time to, they get their maternity leave, they get a little bit of time to have the baby, enjoy the baby, get the baby through that little infant stage. And I find it very important that mothers get time to nurture at that age for birth. And I don't think there should be. I know everybody needs to get back to work, and mothers as well, depending on if they're in a two income, single income, whatever it is. And you got to be thankful for companies that support maternity leave and have insurance policies in place. Versus, I know how it used to be when my mom was growing up, and we were kids in school and stuff. I'd always hear about the mother that got pregnant, and oh, she didn't want her boss to know, and she didn't want to get laid off, or the lady that got pregnant and got laid off. And so it's just one of those where I'm glad we're in a better day and age. And Switzerland kind of leading the platform here, and I know there's other countries that do it as well. But it interests me to know that there's a country that's still pushing for a nationwide maternity leave, which I think is great. And I know I've heard of one country, and I don't know who it is and where it is, but this topic just popped up earlier, so it's a little better for you guys. But there's one where the male and the female can both have paternity leave. They can actually alternate. Like one can stay home, the other, and it's by nation rule or law, or whatever. It's legal for them to do so, and it gives them both, the father and the mother, an opportunity to stay home and nurture the child, as well as it supports the other one going back to work. It's just a great idea. I'm just throwing that out there, guys. I think that's pretty cool, actually. I wish America had better benefits for paternity or maternity leave, whatever it may be. So that being said, um, America could face American could face prison in Thailand over negative reviews. So apparently, this guy gave a negative review of a resort in Thailand, and he's facing prison time. So, and I think I've said this before. There's a point in pardon me. There's a point when other countries, where we take advantage or take I guess for lack of a better term, we tend to in this nation take for granted what we have, and this is an instance where you can look at that and reflect on that. We as a nation take for granted what we have for freedom, what we have for our laws, even, and just our everyday routine. We are able to go on Google. We are able to go do reviews for anything. There's Yelp reviews and Angie's List and all this different stuff. You can go on Thumbtack reviews. There's all these different stuff. You can go online and you can 5-star or you can bash stuff like this. And there's no repercussion to you other than you might get a couple people trolling on you and just like supporting it and in support of the business. And so it's very important to remember what we take for granted here, because something as silly as like, what if you were traveling in Thailand, you went to stay in this resort and you just had a miserable nightmare of an experience, and you wanted to put it online, and you did, and next thing you know, you find yourself in a Thailand jail or prison. So just be aware, folks. Everything you cry about, everything you hear in the media, that everybody's barking and crying and picketing and protesting and rioting and burning stuff down for, it could be a lot worse. Um, so just kind of my perspective on that. Belarus. So in Belarus, there's been nonstop protests going on. So tens of thousands of people in people's inauguration. So they detained 200 people have been detained during protests in support of an opposition leader, Svetlana Tikhanovskaya. I'm really not good with those long names like that. So anyhow, Belisarian police detained 200 people as tens of thousands took to the streets in support of opposition leader Svetlana. I will leave it at that. Days after the country's strongman president staged a secret inauguration. Ahead of Sunday's march, the top opposition Telegram channel Nexta Live, which has more than 2 million subscribers, urged Belisarians to stage a symbolic people's inauguration of the real president. Now I'm reading this off of the Al Jazeera website news. So the opposition movement calling for an end to President Alexander Lukashenko's rule has kept a wave of large demonstrations since his protested election in last month. So the people are basically, this is just boils down to people are sick of it. They're like, hey, we don't like this guy, we don't like his policies. So you have a big majority in that nation that's like, okay, we're done with this guy. Time for the next person to step up. And apparently they want this Svetlana lady, or I don't know. And so it's just interesting. Again, this is another one of those, like, we are kind of seeing something like this in our nation where you have a giant group of people that push to remove or to get President Trump out of office. And let's be real, in these other nations, there's a reason, this guy's probably is shady, this guy's probably is doing a secret inauguration. There could be things going on. We don't know that, but that's what we're being told by the media. That's our source, you know. And unfortunately, some of these sources are propaganda. Some of these sources are really overthrowing government, and a lot of people pay a lot of money into overthrowing these people because they have policies or lobbying stuff they want to get through. They want legislation to get through that will support or help them. So, in a nutshell, um, this could be one of those situations, or it really could be that Lyshenko is just not a good dude, and they're just the people are tired and they're over it. The difference you have here, as opposed to what you have going on in our nation, is that in our nation you have people that are with the media that are pushing a propaganda and a negative narrative. You have a false, original, false claim against this president that he somehow colluded with Russia, which we know now is false. It's been proven, the facts have proven it to be false. It was all a made up campaign smear thing, like we're fixing to see now. Um, and so you have here, you have the same thing. Unfortunately, what they don't have there is they don't really have the support in the laws, similar to what we have here, that will provide justice, democracy, provide a diplomatic solution as to uh, why a president should be removed. We have a supposed alleged equal balance of power, so you have three-tier government that's allegedly going to hold each other accountable, um, which we see as a failure day in and day out with Congress. Um, so, here the difference is you actually have this fake media narrative that Donald Trump is the worst president and that he needs to get out of office. And they make it sound like the overwhelming popularity of people want him out. And what the reality is this president has more support and more back, backing than most any president we've ever seen. As far as, like, at the beginning of it, we all were skeptical. Even the ones that voted for him were very skeptical about how he was going to lead the nation. They were very skeptical about the opposition push, if he was even able to get anything done. Which I still have been completely amazed that if you go to the WhiteHouse.gov and you look at presidential actions, you'd be amazed at 163 plus pages of actions this man's gotten in the face of complete opposition from the left. And so it is quite amazing, and I think he's done a really good job. And no matter how you feel personally about the guy and his administration, his daughter is really doing a great job. Her husband is doing a great job. Mike Pompeo is doing a great job internationally, really bringing things home for us. And it's really just kind of closing deals and sealing off things that were just open-ended nonsense that was affecting us. But no matter what your opinion is of President Trump, don't let your bias of who he is or what the past stories of bankruptcies and his taxes and this and that, don't let that interfere with doing real research and looking at what, as a president and a leader, he has actually done. And then compare that to who you're going to vote, if you're going to vote for Biden. If you can really weigh that out. In 8 years of Biden being vice president, he's really got to weigh out how much he did as a vice president. And vice presidents don't typically do a whole lot. They're involved in a little bit of foreign policy and this and that. And they're supposed to do something. But at the end of the day, in 8 years, what I noticed was that Obama kind of kept him in the closet, kind of kept him on the hush. And when he did come out, it was always a news scandal. It was always he slipped and said something stupid again. I don't know, man. I don't want that. The president's the face of our nation, and kind of a puppet, if you will, for politics for our nation and for the three-tier government that we have. And I don't know, Donald Trump's not really the face I wanted either, but at the end of the day, he's making do his promises. He's completing what he said he would do on the campaign trail. And I don't know or see of anything that Biden is showing us or proving to us that he's done. Good morning, Brian. I see you out there, buddy. You're probably out there hard at work or getting ready to go to work, man. Love you. Love your family. I'll catch you. I will actually need to call you and catch up with you. So I'll give you a buzz. So that being said, you know, I know where I'm going to vote, and I'm not going to be one to sway your vote, but I will present you with the fact that, in my perspective, I don't see a candidate in Biden or Harris that's going to step up and do a third of what Trump's done in his first term, and as much as he's done with opposition. Now, these people stepped in and they had everything going for them. They might accomplish a lot, but a lot of what they're going to accomplish is tearing down what's already in place. And that goes with any presidential change transition. You're going in, you're either going to leave in place the good stuff or you're going to tear down the last guy's stuff. And so your first term, the first 2 years, I've always said this, and I think it's probably pretty true. The first 2 years, historically, in presidential office, most presidents never get anything done in their first 2 years of their 4 years. And there's a reason for that because A, they're getting in the saddle. B, they're learning what they can and can't do, and they're learning what they can and can't legislate, and how the process works. So there's a lot of transition and learning and figuring it out and getting in the saddle and getting the controls down. And once they do that, they're in place. Donald Trump, right from the get-go, started right off jumping in there and really trying to get busy. And some of it backfired and hit him in the face. And some of it, there was some Obama holdovers that were working, and they really just meant to undermine his position. And a lot of it, I think he rushed in and didn't know what was going on right away. Like every other president, it takes time to transition. I think he rushed in with things he wanted done, and these other people kind of opposed and thought, "Whoa, this is crazy. This isn't how it happens or how it has happened." And I think that's where he got his opposition. But the president's done a lot in 4 years that most presidents in two wouldn't even do. So that being said, let's step up to the next one here. Azerbaijan, wherever that is, in Armenia, fight over disputed region as tanks destroyed and helicopters shot down. So apparently there's been 39, if I'm not mistaken, 39 people killed. I read about this earlier. And with basically the Armenian defense ministry said an air and artillery attack on civilian settlements, including the regional capital of Stepanakert. Uh, they're having a major invasion, like a battle there. Nikol Pashinyan, Azerbaijan was launched has launched a missile and aerial attack against Artsakh. Peaceful settlements, including Stepanakert, have been attacked. I apologize, I'm really not good at Armenian side has shot 2 helicopters down and 3 UAVs, destroyed 3 tanks. We stay strong next to our army to protect our motherland. So there's a little invasion going on over here, is what's going on in Armenia. So if you're in Armenia, I pray for you, and I hope you're not in this war-torn invasion area. But it does say that let's see, let's see. Nagorno is mainly ethnic Armenian and region inside of Azerbaijan, which declared its independence in 1991. So basically, it's been a free nation since 91 or area, and now it looks like these people are either coming back in to take it back, or somebody else is just coming into overthrow. And so I hate hearing these war stories. Another thing I enjoy about President Trump is he's getting. I'm watching video of this right now. Of this, yeah, border clash killing 39 raises fresh fears of all-out war. I love that President Trump's taking time to really get our troops home where we can and where we need to, and still be able to protect our country nationwide and at home. But most importantly, I think it's great that we don't see a president that's just pushing the war against us. And I know there's a lot of people in the Pentagon, a lot of people in big government that have been in for years, calling deep state or whatever you want war used to be it. I mean, that was where we profited. Nations, not just us, all nations profited in war. You went in, you took resources, you took land, you overthrew an area, offset them, put back in policies that kind of help benefit you for import export. And due to some of the war regulations, like when you bomb a country, you have to go back and rebuild it type thing. Some of the NATO uh, pacts, for lack of a better term. Some of that is where war is profit. You go in, you bomb an area where, let's say, it's just a high, let's say it's an oil-rich area, and you go in and you bomb an oil-rich area, and you just wipe it out and take over the area, and then you start reestablishing a new government in that area because you can't just move it permanently. You have to help rebuild, and in the midst of helping rebuild, you are basically able to siphon or funnel the resources, or work with setting up something in place for export import because you're there building on the ground. So there's a lot of things politically people don't understand and don't realize. That's been going on for years, but I'm glad to hear that we're not in a situation where we're overseas warring like these people are being invaded. The U.S. has to come step in. I'm glad we're not doing that. This is a local story. TPD finds suspect dead at home after another person died in a shooting. So what we have here is, um, sorry about that, phone ring. Two people are dead after a man shot his neighbor and then turned the gun on himself. Um, so this is a resident in the Tulsa neighborhood near Lewis and Admiral. Woke up in a chaotic scene. Blah, 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 blah. Shot his neighbor, identified as 38-year-old Zachary Rivera. They started shooting pepper balls. I guess it was loud. This is just some neighbor randomly. So apparently Kimberly Bruma lives in the neighborhood. She knew the victim, but shot his father. So it sounds like a pretty horrific situation. Anytime somebody dies, either shot or killed, it. But this one, I was reading this one off for some of our Tulsa listeners. This is just close to home. We have a lot of shootings here in Tulsa, man. I don't know. And usually it'll say on these reports what number homicide we're on. Just how it is here. I don't see it on this report. I don't remember what we're up to on homicides in Tulsa, but Tulsa's just a hot spot for gangs. There's a lot of youth violence and youth crime, and it's it's got some bad areas, just like any city, any state, and it's got some great areas as well. But that being said, we get a lot of shootings here, random as well as drive by or just walk up and shoot people. You see a lot of that, a lot of hit and run, a lot of home invasions. There's a lot of drug activity north side. Uh, it's rough. It's rough. So I like to bring those stories for our local audience. Maybe somebody's familiar with that or the people involved. Devin agrees to buy Tulsa-based WEX Energy News company to Tulsa, City. And then news some company to buy it. So we're buying WPX for 2.56. So what I was going to bring this up because it does say WPX employs 400 people in Tulsa. So they're going to move it from, I guess, Tulsa over to, or maybe just move their branch here, and then we kind of shift things over to Oklahoma City. So what that does is I thought that was a good thing to report for our audience to local too, because that provides jobs. That's going to help with our local economy building up. Road closures in downtown Bixby, Monday and Tuesday. This is another local story for those of you paying attention. Locally, that being said, downtown Bixby's been under construction for a while. They're basically renovating and revamping the whole downtown to bring it up to more of a more modern look, and more modern downtown, make it more, I guess, better for people to come in and bring commerce. And so they've been working on this for a while. Don't for a second think this is something new. This is the road closures in downtown Bixby have been going on for months now. Everybody in town is complaining about the construction, especially local businesses that are affected there because the clients can't get in the park. But overall, when this project, if we all just hold out and be patient, when this project is all done and said and done, it will be a really amazing, cool little downtown area, which it already is. This construction once it's over, so everybody hang in there. Uh, Now, Project Veritas is claiming about Ilhan Omar and illegal ballot harvesting. So, Project Veritas is I guess you could say right wing or just conservative group of people that investigates different political operatives or political topics. And so what they do, mostly what they do that they become basically well known for is they go in with a hot mic and they basically video and investigate. They do investigative journalism, but they go in and they actually get deep into it. They investigate, they record, and they get behind the scenes to the point where they'll like volunteer to be like part of a election poll or something where they know something shady's going down or something's been reported to go down. And they go in there and they record it and they mic it so that they can get the audio. And so what happened was, I watched this yesterday, there's a video of some guy who's rolling around and he's apparently got, his name is Jamal Osman. Mohammed says in the video, doing this for Jamal Osman. So anyhow, this guy's riding around. He's got like freaking 300, he says, ballots on his dashboard where he's harvested them. Now, what is the problem with I've said it before, ballot harvesting, where somebody literally comes to your house and grabs your ballot and it's in their possession, to me is a horrible situation and should not be done. If it doesn't go through a federal, if it doesn't go through the Postal Service, it doesn't go from your hand to the election board, and it doesn't go from the election board to you, or another governing authority, I would not trust handing it off to anyone knocking at my door to pick up a ballot, especially any kind of third party. Apparently, there's a law in the books in Minnesota that if you're going to pick up ballots, by law, you're only allowed to pick up 3 ballots. And so this guy, apparently they're picking up, they've got like 300 of them. Some of them are blank, some of them they're filling out. And that's the story that Veritas is providing. They did reach out to one of the local, I think it was a local AG or prosecutors, and the guy did say he would like to look into it because it is violation of law, because they have the 3 ballot rule there. So, okay, so there's been a lot. If you watch the video, look it up. It's Project Veritas. Look it up. And so on the video, the guy mentions on there, one of the people they're interviewing, specific hand, mentions that the money that's being paid out for this fraud is being done by Omar and the congresswoman. And so it's really, apparently what they're doing is trying to get her, win her the election and overthrow for her opposition. And apparently there's been a lot of ballots damaged already or lost or whatever. And there was a lady that even reported that like people just show up at the door and they're being handed bags of cash to do this. And so just keep following that story. Project Veritas is where you're going to find the information for that. They have a website. New documents unveiled. Now I'm reading some of this stuff I'm reading right now to close out here because I got to go. I'm reading this stuff off because this is the stuff you're not going to find in the news. And why do I say that? Is because I started searching for some of this stuff that I saw over the weekend on different groups and different social media sites, and it's not front page. It's not top trending news, and it really should be. But unfortunately, with our media so anti-Trump, they're not going to put this stuff out there because they have been the ones reporting this stuff as true, and now we're starting to find out it's not true. So that being said, what we have here is the new document further unveiled Democrats Russiagate. So what Russiagate is you already know, and let me just read the article a little bit. A number of recent documents released shine new light on Russiagate. That conspiracy theory peddled by the Obama administration via the Democratic Party, aligned media, and I'm reading this off of Popular Resistance. I just clicked one of them, so it's just random. I didn't just choose my favorite. It's just literally I'm reading a headline just like you can find. Obama administration, the Democratic Party, aligned media, and deep state actors opposed to President Trump alleged that Trump was in cahoots with Russia. The disinformation campaign had the purpose of sabotaging his presidency. To some extent, it has worked as intended, but due to the legal investigation of the whole affair, much more is now known which has conspired against Trump. Some of these agents under FBI Director Comey, who used to easily debunk Steele dossier, paid for by the Democratic Party, and gained FISA court warrants that allowed them to spy on the Trump campaign. It now turns out that the main source for the dossier they used was a shady actor who the FBI had earlier investigated for an alleged connection to Russian intelligence. So when they're saying that Trump conspired or worked, was in cahoots with Russia, the facts that are coming out is that the FBI agents investigating and pushing this narrative were the ones that were using Russian agents and or Russian intelligence to doctor up this whole thing. So back it says, primary source for the Steele dossier was a subject of an earlier counterintelligence investigation by the FBI. And those facts were known to Crossfire Hurricane Team as early as December 2016. According to new released documents from the Justice Department that were first reported by CBS, between May 2009 and 2011, the FBI maintained investigations into the individual who later would be identified as Christopher Steele's primary subsource. The two-page FBI memo states the FBI commenced this investigation based on information by the FBI indicating that the primary subsource may be a threat to national security. So, I'm not going to keep reading into this. You guys can go read into this. Popular Resistance, I encourage you to read into this article and read into more of the facts on this Russiagate thing, because the media is not going to tell that to you. And I discussed at the beginning of this live. We have the election coming up. We have a lot of mudslinging going on. This has nothing to do with, in my opinion, this has nothing to do with the current election. But this does bring some light to the fact that the Democratic Party, the former administration, did use our government, weaponize it against Trump and to overthrow the election, as well as to discredit and obstruct the presidency, which we've seen go on the whole entire 4 years. And I feel that people should be held accountable. Was the Russian probe the most corrupt U.S. Investigation ever? This is an article from issueinsights.com. Just an interesting one you might want to check out. Declassified documents requested by the Senate Judiciary Chair Lindsey Graham show the primary source of the document, the Trump dossier created by former British Steele, wasn't actively investigated by the FBI. So, at the end of the day, this is kind of a follow-up article to the one I just read. But this one confirms, for those that just want to say, they just watch the news, they don't really look up anything. This is all going on public record in Congress, with congressional committees that are doing this. So you can look this up as fact. You can deny it all you want, but it happened. The facts are there. The paperwork's there. The public record is there. The investigation and evidence is there in congressional records, whether it's redacted or whether it's not, whether it's still held as secret right now. Excuse me. So the story we've heard about the Russiagate and the Russian hoax and all this stuff is true. Everything that was said about Russia hoax being a hoax is true. This was all a planned political campaign ploy. And so I encourage you guys to really do your work and really do your research. And whenever you're going to push, if you're on the left and you're going to keep debating and pushing people and saying, well, what about Russia, blah, 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 and that should come back to every little rebuttal or debate, I encourage you to stop, drop it. I encourage the news media, it's about time that they look stupid enough, they need to drop the story. Not just to drop it, it needs to become the light. People need to be held accountable for what they did. But if anything, people should be apologizing because they were wrong, and we know that as a nation and as human beings, we're not going to do that always. So that being said, Senate committee authorizes subpoena in GOP's. This was back in May 20th, okay? So this article is old. I thought I was looking for some newer stuff on this, which we just know came out last week. So Senate committee authorizes subpoena in GOP's Hunter Biden Rosenstein investigation. So this was back in May that these subpoenas came out. And now we're just now here in September finding the information that we know about Hunter Biden's money. He got money from a married wife over in Ukraine, and just some really dirty stuff tied to trafficking and prostitution in China. So that being said, we know, as much as we knew the Russia thing was real, we now know that the Ukraine Biden, Hunter Biden stuff was real, and that Burisma and all the things he was involved with were shady. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And so the last thing I want to touch on before I get off of here is Trump's tax return. So Trump's, they come out with this, somebody has leaked. Everybody's been trying to get Trump tax returns. He's been saying, they're working on them, they're auditing, blah, 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 blah. He's got every excuse in the book not to show the tax returns. Every former president in history, or whatever political candidate has shown tax returns is the narrative. And I'll be honest with you, I really don't care. I really don't care about Trump's tax return. Why do I not care about Trump's tax return? One, because Trump's tax return, your taxes are usually from the previous year. I really don't care about his 2015 tax returns leading up to 2015 when he became president. It does not affect the nation and the country. All it is they want these tax returns and they're hoping to find something bad again on him, so they can defame him or add some pollution to his character. At the end of the day, what they found, or what was reported, is that in the past, like 4 years or something, he's reported $750 paid in taxes, and that's it. And allegedly, for so many odd years, uh, he didn't pay much. And I just, I'm not a tax guy, for those of you that are, but as a good businessman, and I like to think that I've built enough businesses and top to bottom, built them, sold them, built them, lost them, built them, shut them down. So I've dealt with taxes quite a while, not personally. I always have a CPA in mind. That's why good businessmen, especially when you're like on his level, doing the amount of money that he deals with, his lawyers, his attorneys, whatever, lawsuits. You gotta have somebody doing your taxes for you guys. Don't TurboTax sounds great if you're just a single person living on your own and you're just trying to get your tax return, but when you reach a level where you're running a business and there's so much you can do to write off and this and that and other, that's why you do it. So would a good businessman get a CPA and have his good CPA do all the legal loopholes for taxes he would? Yes. I would encourage it. In the past 4 years, he paid in supposedly $750. If these are even good tax records, somebody told me, my source told me that this is what they leaked was a variation of some information from the past 4 years, but most of it was older, 2016 and before taxes. And I would say this probably got leaked by somebody inside the investigation in New York that's been trying to, with the Supreme Court hearing, trying to get this resolved or exposed. So I would think this is kind of obviously it's a political thing. But the fact in 4 years he paid $750 in taxes, and we know publicly, this isn't hidden, this isn't something we had to go to court over. We know publicly he donates every check since he's been in presidency. When he became president, he had to sign over all his official businesses and all his stuff into his kid's name or into his family, whoever's running the businesses. He had to walk away from that to be president because he's not allowed to run a business, have financial gain because it just looks bad for president. So that being said, the guy in 4 years, since he handed off his money, he really hasn't had income then, has he? He can claim that he's had income, but he donates that income, which is a tax write-off. Because he's donating it to agencies or he's donating it to foundations or whatever he's donating it to. We also know that as a good business person, even when you're running your business, if you're running a big business, doctors do this a lot, lawyers do this a lot. If you're running big business, you do a lot of tax write-offs throughout the year. Donate to foundations or organizations. And we know that Trump did that a lot with his businesses. Without even having to see the real tax reform in front of me, I can tell you just from my own personal experience, my CPA would be looking for all of that as well. Anything you can write off in a tax year, it just benefits you. That's just being smart. That's not being stupid. That's not being a tax evader. That's using the tax code that's in place, which, again, taxation is theft. I think taxes is the most ridiculous thing in the world. I know we need taxes to support our infrastructure and different things, but it's very obvious over the past decades and more than that, dozens of decades, that our tax money has been misused. And it continues to be misused. And it continues to be used for things we don't agree for it to be used for. And so, at the end of the day, we'll get to the bottom of more of it, but there's already been at least 3 or 4 media outlets that have already taken that New York Times or New York Post article that came out, whoever leaked it to them. They've already come out and started debunking this stuff. Just like everything that's been thrown at Donald Trump, this most likely will be debunked because, again, this is the most investigated president in our lifetime, and probably in the history of presidencies, and more than Nixon or anyone. And they've not found anything on it. And so they're going to continue to look. If you look hard enough at somebody, you're going to find something they did wrong. Nobody's perfect. And so these taxes, if this is their next step, is the taxes is a political smear for the campaign leading up to it, and then this is going to be leading to maybe the possibility of Pelosi's stupid second impeachment. There's no, I mean, you're standing on water. You're not, there's no solid ground here. So I don't see, in a portion of what I find interesting is that the media that reported it is not going to be held accountable for illegal, if somebody, I understand the media has a duty and a right to support, to report things. I have media credentials. There's certain things that somebody would bring to me and have brought to me in the past that I wouldn't divulge. There's certain things that you have moral turpitude, you have moral character not to. And if somebody comes to me with somebody else's personal information, whether it's the President of the United States or whether it's some Joe Schmo around the corner, I don't feel that it's my obligation or right morally to put somebody's personal information and finances out in public. And while that's been a historical thing for presidents and people running for campaigns to do just to make themselves look good, my perspective on it is if I was running for president and you asked me for my taxes, I'm going to tell you to beat it. Because it's none of your business what my personal, if you want to know all about me, I'd be as transparent as possible. But, and Trump pretty much is, he's pretty transparent. There's certain things he's very reserved on, and there's deeper reasons why. Everybody in every family and every business or family business, there's things that go on, and there's things you want out and things you don't want out. And I'm sorry, president or not president, it's nobody's business if the things he doesn't want out. Especially when it all boils down to the things that people want out about him is going to be used for political smears. And that's basically all this is. This is another one of the Nancy Pelosi wrap-up smears by using the media. So what we've done is we've pushed for years the taxes, we need taxes, we want to get taxes, blah, 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 about taxes. And then we just throw in the media that something got leaked about his taxes. So obviously everything we've said about Trump's true. And that's what they're trying to push. And it's a false narrative. I've got to get off of here, folks. I've got some other things I got to do today. Appreciate all you guys chiming in and all you people that were messaging me while I'm doing live. I get more messaging. I want more of you guys to try to hit me up in the comments. And I appreciate Brian did it. I see Brian out there. And a few others, but a lot of you guys like to message me, and I appreciate it. I really do. But it's easier for you to comment and then you not have to get into the messenger after you go live. So that being said, I appreciate it. I'm gonna try to get back on here. I've got a few things I want to try to post up today. Again, please show your support and love. Go to YouTube if you have an account. If you don't, all you need is a Google account, or just people sign up for a YouTube without a Google account. Please do. Go to Two Party Podcast, subscribe to our page. We've got more content coming up. I promise you it's going to get more interesting. Find us on Instagram, Twitter, Parler. We're on everything. MeWe, there's all these different ones we're on. Basically, any social platform you can find us. Twitch, Tumblr, we're on them all. Hit us up. Give us a like, share, follow on all of those. Subscribe. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, SoundCloud. I'm on Podchaser for those of you that are other podcasters and stuff. The other thing is I'm looking for two things. I'm looking for some more comedians. Jim Brewer would be great. Jessica Basho, I know you're out there. I'd like to talk to Jim Brewer, try to get him on, somebody that we kind of grew up with, and I've met him a couple times when he was in Palm Harbor. I'd like to get Jim on the show, man. I follow him. I like his perspective on the COVID and the pandemic stuff. I see that some of the stuff he posts is just kind of funny, and I like when he goes on and does live and gives his perspective. So I'd like to get Jim Brewer at some point. But I've got a couple comedians lined up, but I'd like to get some more comedians on the show. I'm also looking for musicians. So no matter where you're at and you're seeing this or you're hearing this or somebody's watching this can tell someone they know, I'd love to have some musicians contact me. You can reach me directly at twopartypodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to have you on as a guest. We record remotely, so if you have social anxiety like most people these days, you can just email me. We record remotely. You ain't gotta be in the same room with me. We can do it from. You can be in Africa, Australia, and we can do this. We can record audio. So get with me if you're a musician. I'm looking for comedians, musicians, and fighters. If you're a boxer, UFC type, MMA, jiu-jitsu, I'm looking for a couple of those. Some top ranked guys is great. I just want to have a good guest interview with somebody who's in the industry. If you're a business owner, hit me up. I'd love to promote your business locally as well as globally. I'm here for you. I love promoting businesses, especially smaller businesses. Again, twopartypodcast@gmail.com. You can go to our website, which is the number 2, partypodcast.com. Hit me up on YouTube. Subscribe. I can't ask you guys enough. I can't thank you guys enough that have subscribed. Please continue to subscribe. We're trying to build that up and get that platform up so we can utilize that platform with our other platforms to bring you guys a better presence online and to give you guys a better avenue of being able to hear us. The more you guys help build up YouTube, the more I can spend more time putting the videos for you. So again, I'm getting off here. I've rambled enough for you. Have a great Monday morning. I try to be positive anywhere I can, so I'm encouraging you guys to please have a great Monday, think positive, be positive, and most important, I try to encourage everybody, the most important thing I want you to do is help somebody today. If that means giving them a hug, giving them a smile, giving them a compliment, that's what I want you to do, I encourage you to do. Go help other people, no matter what it is, help them. You see an old lady walking pushing her cart from the grocery store to her car, go offer to push the cart for her, even if she don't want you to. I just encourage you to help other people. Be the positive energy you want to see in this world. Make the world the good that you want it to be, or what it can be. So on that note, Dean Cutter, Two Party Podcast, signing off, man. Have a great one.